Yo, what's up, guys? Zach Poff here, Max Prep's national football editor. And with the high school football season coming to an end a couple of weeks ago, it's now time to dish out the awards, and we're looking at the 2021 First Team Max Prep's All America squad. And of course, if you want to check out the second teamers, just go to maxpreps.com for the entire list. Checking out the first team offense, it features 13 players overall, and the quarterback was Austin Westlake's five-star gunslinger Cade Klubnik, who was named our Max Preps National Player of the Year. This year, he threw for over 3,200 yards, had 43 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions, completed over 71% of his passes, and also rushed for nearly 500 yards and 12 more scores. He led the Chaparrals to a 16-0 record, their third consecutive state title, and Austin Westlake finished ranked number 2 in the final Max Preps Top 25 rankings. And Klubnik, you look at Westlake, all the great quarterbacks they've had: Drew Brees, Nick Foles, Sam Ehlinger. Cade Klubnik left school as the all-time passing leader in yards and touchdowns. The running backs feature modern day's five-star Raleek Brown, a 2022 USC signee, and the reason why he was the easy choice for first-team selection is just what he did against the best competition. Modern Day beat 5 teams ranked in the top 25, and in those 5 games, Brown rushed for 649 yards and 5 TDs. And the other first-team running back is out in Pennsylvania, Nicholas Singleton, who rushed for 2,000 plus yards and 41 TDs, and he averaged nearly 13 yards per carry. The wide receivers feature East St. Louis's five-star Luther Burden, who had over 2,100 all-purpose yards this season and 35 total TDs. And the other receiver was St. Mary's five-star Kevin Coleman. He led the Dragons to a Class 3 state title, and in the playoffs alone, he had over 1,000 all-purpose yards and 16 TDs. The first team tight end selection is from Georgia, and it's Oscar Delpa, 2022 Georgia signee, and he balled this year for nearly 1,000 yards receiving and 8 TDs. The offensive line is led by Liberty Christian's five-star Zach Rice. He had over 200 plus pancake blocks alone this season, and he didn't allow a sack over his final 2 years of high school football. And the other 4 offensive linemen include St. John Bosco's Ernest Green, who led the Braves to their 6th consecutive Max Preps top 10 finish. IMG Academy's Tyler Booker, who dominated all season long playing against a national schedule. And then you got Devin Campbell, who's an absolute freak in the trenches, one of the best run and pass blocking offensive linemen in the country. And Austin Westlake's Connor Robertson joins Cade Klubnik as first team selections from the number 2 ranked team in the country. The all-purpose selection on the first team offense goes to Servite's Tetero McMillan. You just turn on the tape of this dude, he's an absolute freak. This year for Servite, they finished ranked number 5 in the top 25 Max Preps final rankings. He had 88 receptions for 1,300 plus yards, 18 TDs, and on defense he had 35 tackles and a team high 8 interceptions. And Alex McPherson of Fort Payne High School out in Alabama was selected as a first team kicker. He made 13 field goals this year and broke his older brother's state record. Evan McPherson, now with the Cincinnati Bengals, connecting on a 61-yard field goal this season. Now looking at the defense, we'll start with the defensive line. It all starts with Walter Nolan, five-star defensive tackle from Powell High School out in Tennessee. The Texas A&M signee had 83 tackles, 33 tackles for loss, 17 sacks, and forced 6 fumbles, and also led the Panthers to their first state title in school history. A couple of Alabama dudes are up next. You got Jeremiah Alexander, a five-star from Thompson High School. He racked up nearly 100 tackles this year, 29 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, also had a pick 6, and led Thompson to their third straight 7A state title, and they finished ranked number 16 in the final top 25 rankings. And then you got Curtis Perry from Parks Crossing High School in Alabama. He had 23 sacks this year and led the Patriots to a 5A state title, the first in school history. And rounding out the D-line is Chaminade Madonna's Kenyatta Jackson Jr. He had 75 plus tackles, 18 sacks, led Madonna to a 3A state title, and they also won the Geico Championship on ESPN to round out the season. The linebacker position all starts with modern day's David Bailey. He led the way for the best front 7 in high school football. He had 20 and a half tackles for loss and 15 and a half sacks for the team that went number 1 wire to wire all season long. And the other 2 linebacker positions are filled by five-star from Archbishop Alter, CJ Hicks, who's one of the best all-around playmakers in the country. And then you also got Miami Central's 4-star Wesley Basaint, who's one of the best sideline to sideline linebackers in the country. And the 2022 Miami signee led the Rockets to their third straight state title and a spot at number 20 in the final MaxPreps Top 25. The 4 defensive back positions feature Southeast Pokes. Xavier Wankpa, this dude dominated in all 3 phases of the game. He was a standout on defense and made plays on offense when they needed it. He also led the Rams to their first state title in school history. A couple of 2022 Georgia signees were also first-team selections. You got IMG Academy's Dalen Everett, who's one of the top lockdown corners in the country. Quarterbacks rarely look this dude's direction. And then you also got Riverside's Jaheim Singletary. The baller from Jacksonville is a freak on both sides of the ball. And the other first-team selection at DB was Bergen Catholic's 4-star Jaden Gould. He had 27 tackles and 4 interceptions. It led the Crusaders to a 12-0 record, their first undefeated season since 1998, and Bergen Catholic finished ranked number 3 in the MaxPreps Top 25 rankings. The all-purpose selection was last year's MaxPreps Junior Player of the Year, Collins Hill's 5-star Travis Hunter. He had over 1,300 yards receiving, 12 TDs, 25 tackles, 4 interceptions, and most importantly, he led Collins Hill to their first ever state title. They won the 7A crown, the largest in the state of Georgia, and they finished ranked number 12 in the final MaxPreps Top 25 rankings. And the first team selection at punter was West Minter's Alex Paqueta, who is a 2022 Penn State signee, and he's one of the best in the country at flipping the field. And for the full list to see all the second team selections, just go to maxpreps.com. And of course, we'll be dropping the junior, sophomore, and freshman All-American teams on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.